Intermittent fasting is one of the fastest growing trends in the past decade. It's shown to lead to weight loss, improve metabolic health, and even increase alertness. It's about extending the period of non-eating. This no-diet dieting approach seems quite effective if you look at research. The idea behind it is it doesn't just matter what you eat, but when you eat it too. Some people do it by skipping breakfast, and others by extending it to 24-plus-hour fast, while third by sipping on a detox juice after work. Either way, fasters love it. So many new articles, videos, and podcasts on the topic that I can't even help but ask the question, is it really that beneficial, and how can we make it more effective? What is fasting? It's basically not eating, right? Well, fasting is an extended form of abstaining from food where you prolonged your non-eating window. You extend it while shrinking the window of eating. Intermittent fasting is this interplay between an eating pattern where you cycle between periods of non-eating and eating, which is kind of what we do, right? We can't eat all the time or not eat all the time. We're gonna have to grab some food at a certain point. But why is then fasting logical? Because fasting is about extending this non-eating window, which can probably come with numerous, myriad, plethora of different health benefits and effects. Some of these are catabolic by nature, which is important because many people want to lose weight, detox, and throw off their toxins and junk cells, which fasting can gladly do for you. Due to the catabolic nature of this non-diet dieting approach, fasting actually kickstarts different processes in the body that may lead to longevity, improved brain performance, and even anti-aging. Let's go. The definition of fasting is abstaining from eating food. Clear enough, but we'll have to eat at some point, so what's the point? It's about understanding how extending the non-eating window affects processes like weight loss, energy metabolism, and health markers. Doing so can allow you to use it to your own advantage and improve your health. So a little bit of my story on fasting. I'm actually a 8-year faster already, which is quite interesting because when you see me I look like a 14-year-old kid with a beard, but I don't know if that's due to fasting and its anti-aging effects. I'm just kidding. So I fasted for 8 years, and mainly I started when I was 16 or something because I wanted to increase this hormone called HGH. I thought it would help me grow taller, regenerate, add some more muscle mass, and I liked all these effects. Now that's a debatable topic, but essentially that's why I started. I started by pushing my breakfast from 8 o'clock every 3 months, pushing that breakfast up for an hour, and in just a year I got to eating at noon at 12 o'clock. While all the other students were starting to eat their meals, especially carb-loaded punch of meals, at 8 o'clock, I tried to push mine into 12 and then slowly started to add a bit more protein and fiber and fats to it. Throughout the years, I've noticed fasting enabled me to stay focused, calm, and alert for longer and enabled me to cognitively function at a better level. Now, if I have a lot of carbs, especially plain carb meal in the morning, I will almost certainly feel lethargic and slow. But the body needs certain adaptation phase to get to that level, and very quick, restrictive, extreme challenges of fasting may lead to hormone imbalances and energy drops. If you're really into fasting, make sure you check out these 3 podcasts to uncover more of the topic and understand the science behind fasting. When we eat, there are tons of little processes happening on a cellular level to help us break down food, digest it, and metabolize it to release energy. As glucose levels increase, insulin is secreted to transport it. This is all great, but with constant sugar ingestion during the day, we deteriorate this process, making insulin sensitivity weaker. When abstaining from food, we can replenish, refresh, and regenerate these systems, allowing for a better glycemic control later. How does fasting work? See, it might be a lot simpler than you may think. Most of the benefits of fasting are very closely related to the benefits of the ketogenic diet, which leads me to ask the question, is mainly fasting beneficial because we reduce the intake of sugars and processed refined carbohydrates? And there's a little bit of logic in this. When you fast or extend your non-eating window, you reduce the frequency and the load of glucose intake, which consequentially may lead to improved insulin sensitivity. This is just a fancy way of saying the hormone that shoves glucose into your tissues is more efficient at recognizing and transporting glucose. This can reduce glycemic variability, which is the spike and fall of your glucose, Once glucose travels too high and low into your blood, it causes myriad of detrimental metabolic changes. Now instead, this fasting thing or ketogenic may help to reset this glycemic control, enabling you to control glucose and improve the interplay of glucose and insulin. This can lead to lower inflammation, lower oxidative stress, and improved metabolism. Let's kickstart with the benefits of fasting. First thing is very clear, fasting can help you lose weight and fat. The way it does this is by pushing you into a practical and sustainable caloric deficit, which most people can sort of adhere to. The second one is potentially improving brain alertness and brain function, as you don't have all these plain carbs and refined sugars to clog you up in the morning. This may lead to longevity as it reduces inflammation and oxidative damage. Third, it can improve metabolic markers, which is what we spoke about, improving glycemic control, the interplay of insulin and glucose, insulin sensitivity, and may even potentially improve cholesterol profile. In 27 trials examined, intermittent fasting led to weight loss ranging from 0.8 to 13% of body weight. It reduced body mass index and improved glycemic control. Ketosis or fasting may improve brain function and resilience, increase neuroplasticity, and even BDNF signaling, which enhances learning. Fasting has been shown to improve cholesterol profile by reducing LDL, total cholesterol, and triglycerides by 15, 12, and 22% respectively. This can improve metabolic health and energy metabolism. What types of fasting exist? There is an alternate day fasting, 16 to 8 fasting, longer extended fasts, and 5 to 2 fasting. Now the first one, alternate day fasting, is when you are eating normally every other day, and on the fasting days in between, you eat less than 25% of your normal calories. For most folks, that's somewhere below 500 calories. It seems that people adhere less to this diet, but it's quicker in terms of weight loss. Then, it's my favorite, 16-8 fasting, and this is when you fast for 16 hours and 8, or place your eating window and only squeeze it in only 8 hours. Then you have longer and extended fasts, which I do not recommend. This is for the yoga gurus and the biohackers and longevity experts, which should be controlled and monitored because it can lead to energy drops, crashes, very low glucose, hypoglycemia, etc., etc. Not for an inexperienced faster, let's say. Then is the 5 to 2 fasting, which is 5 days of completely normal eating, while 2 days, usually on weekends, you restrict your eating window to less than 25% of total calories or less than 500 calories. This can make you angry or hangry. How to do a 16 to 8 hour fast? It's actually very simple. Just skip breakfast, Now the way I prefer it is to push my lunch, or breakfast you could call it, at 12 and to eat my last meal up until 8 o'clock. That gives me my 8 hours of feeding, and I'm fasting the next day up until 12 o'clock. Now to me, this works very well because it gives me a boost in cognition. I'm more alert, focused, and sharp. I don't want to have a load of carbs in the morning. Or you can choose to place your feeding window earlier in the day and start eating at 9, finishing your last meal up until no longer than 5 o'clock. Now, I've noticed that this eating pattern can cause sleep interruptions in me and increase the ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone, which makes me wake up in the morning earlier. And I don't kind of mess with this approach. I like my 16-8 starting at 12 o'clock, finishing at 8, which is also mostly practical and doable in most situations, socially and culturally, right? There are so many fasting apps that can help you keep track of your eating window. You can tailor the fasting experience to fit your lifestyle. You can set the time frame, get notifications, and even track your weight loss progress. Plus, there are dozens of additional resources, recipes, and how not to break a fast rules. For someone to experience the benefits of fasting, you need a slow and steady adaptation. You can't expect that you'll just push out your breakfast till 12 o'clock and everything's going to be fine. Most non-adapted people will experience energy crashes and glucose drops as they're used to glucose for refuel. Technically, what fasting does is it entrains your metabolic flexibility. This is a fancy way of saying it allows your body to more efficiently tap into fat stores to produce energy. Now, if you're not adapted to this and you can't really shift the ketones very fast, It is very normal that at the start you can experience glucose drops. That is why no one should ever do a restrictive fasting or extreme fasting where their body is not yet adapted. It's also a thing to consider that an adaptation to fasting is a longer thing and not a 5 or a 10-day challenge, meaning to experience the full benefits and learn how to fast, you need to give your body some time and some breaks in between to really learn how to use fats and how to tap into fat stores to produce energy. That being said, even for the very well adapted, this might not work for everyone. The way I see it is most athletes who need a lot of glucose to fuel their training are probably not going to benefit much from fasting. For someone who just wants to grow a lot of muscle, or for someone who has a ton of glucose requiring work in the morning, fasting may not be the most optimal way to eat. It's just maybe you want to try it for yourself, do your own research, and then decide. Since most people underestimate their eating window, it can be a good thing to get an app to track those things. No fasting discussion ends with the good old, what breaks a fast? Will a cup of clean black coffee in the morning break a fast? Simple answer, no. How about a chamomile tea at night? No. What about a vitamin C and B complex supplement? Again, no. How about a one teeny tiny small little cookie? Hell yes. If it contains calories, especially sugar, it technically breaks a fast. Let me give you a brief overview of contextual fasting. Most of the benefits we experience through fasting are related to the ketogenic diet and are actually related to fasting from sugar. That means, in a sense, if you break your fast with a bowl of rice, it's going to be way different than if you would break a fast with like 3 almonds and collagen peptides enriched coffee. The more sugars you have, the more technically you break a fast. And although a handful of peanuts will break a fast, you're still going to experience most of the benefits of fasting and extend your fast because you're tapping into fats and not into sugars, meaning you don't spike up your glucose and insulin levels up and down, but you're actually maintaining relatively stable glucose levels. You're not fasting to technically tell everyone you're in a fasted state, but you're fasting to experience most of the benefits of fasting, like weight loss, fat loss, cognition and alertness improvement, regeneration, etc., which sometimes can be achieved by extending your fast through eating a high-fat, low-carb meal. That's all I have for you today. If you're interested in this topic and you want to see more in-depth research, feel free to check out this full article. It has a lot of studies, a lot of great underlying mechanisms of how fasting works, a lot of scientific data, etc. Feel free to check it out, and I guess I'll see you in the next one. Subscribe for more videos like this. Goodbye.